Okay, quizzes are in the books, so to speak. Excuse me. Ladies, the other day we got about halfway through what we needed to get through in talking about box and whisker plots. And today we are talking about centers of distribution. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do the question that remained from the lesson the other day. So that'll finish up our understanding of box and whisker plots. Then we'll do the same exact idea on today's Do It. I'll give you a minute or two to get that done. It doesn't take long. And then we will go into centers of distribution, which isn't a really big deal. Basically, all you're talking about is mean, median, and mode, which you should know already. Anyway, Ivy, can you kill the lights, please? Okay, so here is a list of data on the board. Can you please, on your calculators, go to Stat Edit, clear out any columns you might have, and just put in that data. Okay, so one more time, you go to Stat Edit, clear out any columns you might have, and just do a single column of this data, L1 if you will, the first list. Well, I'm going to leave them up on the board if you need to look on the board for them. But you could also look in the sheet from Friday for these numbers. This is, you turn the page and they're there. If you guys are having any difficulty, just show someone sitting around you how to do it. Okay, did we all get our data in? Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how not to be like Mary. Okay? Mary is, we could call Mary Stupid Mistake Mary because, no, Mary's smart enough to understand anything in this class, but it's fair to say, Mary, that you don't always check your work over, and because of that, you don't get 100. Is that a fair statement? It very much is a fair statement. Now, the kind of thing, see, truth be known, don't take this the wrong way in these modern times, I am a stupid Mary, a stupid mistake Mary. Because I, too, I never got 100 on the Regents. I got lots of 95s, 96, 97, 98. I never got 100. My best friend got 100 on the Geometry Regents. I got a 98. My girlfriend got 100 on the Trig Regents. I got a 98. The correct answer was 7. I put -7. I have the ability to do the stupid thing. So I sympathize, and I kind of find it humorous. So anyway, the kind of thing I would do wrong, and Mary, tell me if you wouldn't do this, I'd leave a number off the list. Right? Is that the kind of thing you would do? You'd forget to put one of them in? Or type it in wrong. Okay, I'm gonna leave it off the list, guy. So what I'm going to do is count the number of these over here before I proceed. And then I'm going to count the number in the list. So I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go up 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Perfect. So now I know I inputted every piece of data. So to me, it's worth checking that out to make sure you do it right. Now the question becomes, what does it all mean? And what we're going to do is make this thing called a box and whisker plot. Personally, I don't think these have a ton of value, but I think whoever makes math tests likes them because they do fairly frequently appear on the state assessment test. They're on most years. Either they give you the picture and they ask you to draw a conclusion, or they give you the numbers like now and they ask you to draw the picture. So anyway, let's go to stat. Now, this time we're not going to put any numbers in, so we're going to do some calculations. Go to calc. Now, how many variables do we have in this problem? How many columns? One. So it's one variable stat. Now, I'm going to hit enter again, because this is saying, you sure you want one variable stats? Yes, I am. Now, here's the thing. See this X bar? This means the mean. What does X with a little line over the top mean? Hey! What does X bar with it's called X bar, but what does X with the little line over the top mean? It's the mean, it's the average. So the average of these scores is 20. The sum of the X's means if you added up all of those numbers, what would you get? The answer is 300. This is the sum of the squares of those numbers. You would get 6108. This is a thing called standard deviation that we'll get to in the next couple of days. Now, at this point you might think, well, this isn't what we're looking for. What does this have to do with a box and whisker plot? Scroll down a little bit, and now we're getting into the box and whisker data. See the one that says minimum, first quartile, median, third quartile, maximum? Okay. This is what a box and whisker plot is. Very, very simply. Watch me now. It's, gotta look here. It's the lowest score. It's the highest score. It's the middle, called the median, right? And then it's the middle of the first half and the middle of the second half. The middle of the first half is called the first quartile. In other words, you do the median again, but only to the first half numbers. And then for the third quartile, you do the median again, but instead of doing it to the first half numbers, you do it to the second half numbers, right? So in other words, what they're doing is they're basically chopping up the numbers. What they try to do is this. In general, if you have a long list of numbers, they chop it up in the middle. This is called the median, which could also be called the second quartile. This is called the maximum, or sometimes it's called the upper extreme. This is called the minimum, or what do you think that might also be called? Medium. No. Come on, if this one's the upper extreme, lower extreme. Now, the next thing they do, so all they've done is they've said, look, this is the minimum guy, this is the maximum guy, this is the guy in the middle. Then what they do is they make two groups. This group and this group. And then just like I chopped the long list in half, I'm going to chop these two in half. This is called the first quartile, quartile 1. In other words, it's the median of the first half of numbers. And this is called quartile 3. How come that's not called quartile 2? Right, quartile sounds like quarter, right? So look, first quarter, second quarter, which is the median, which is the middle, which is 50%, third quartile, maximum. So that's what we're trying to do here as we set this up. Now, how does that relate to what we're doing here? Let's make a number line, and the numbers that matter are from 14 to 25. So I'm going to go 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So copy that down. These are very, very, very easy, extremely simple, because the calculator does all the work for you. Now, all I'm going to do, the minimum x is at 14, so I make a little mark where I think 14 is. Then I do the first quartile. What's the first quartile? 18. So I make a little mark where I think 18 is. What's the median? 20. So I make a little mark where 20 is. What's the third quartile? 22. So I make a little mark where 22 is. And what's the maximum? 25. So here's the deal. All we do is input the data. We go to stat calc. We go to one variable stats, enter, enter. We scroll down until we find this data here, and then I mark them all on the graph. Have I done anything hard so far? No. Absolutely not. Now, this is not hard either, but I don't want you to look down and miss this. Everybody look up. James, look up. Look, the name of this is called a box and whisker plot. So I'm going to make a box with a little line through the median in the middle and whiskers, and I'm done. That's it. It's the whole thing. Now, they will ask you to do two things with this type of question. The first thing they will say to you is, here's a list of numbers, make the plot. We just did that. It's not difficult. Enter the data, stat calc, one variable stats, enter, enter, scroll down, bam, there's the numbers for you. But sometimes they'll draw a chart like this, a box and whisker plot like this, and they'll say to you, based on the box and whisker plot below, what's the median? God bless. How do you find the median on a box and whisker plot? It's the middle guy, right here. So you'd say, oh, it's 20. If I said, what's the minimum? 14, right? If they had numbers like this, the choices would probably be 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. It would be pretty obvious which one it is. They might say, which is the upper quartile? What would the upper quartile be? Or the third quartile? 22. Okay? So now what I want you to do is go to this sheet, which is the center of distribution for this sheet, and from today's Do It, it says here to make a stem and leaf plot. Because we're a little pressed for time, we're going to skip that. We did those the other day. I want you to do a box and whisker plot for that data. Go ahead. And then if we don't get too much time for today's, just remember mean, median, mode, and range. Mean is the average, mode is the most popular or frequent, and median is the one in the middle. You don't need works of art here, guys. Okay, now I just did it, so I have to assume you're faster than me. Okay? I'm going to scroll down now. And there is my data. So now all I have to do is make my box and whisker plot, and it looks to me like the numbers go from 5 to 44. So I'm going to go by tens. It does not matter. You could go by twos. You could go by fives. It's not that any one person is any more right than another person. Come on. Is my pen dying? I hope not. 0, 10, 20, 30, God, 40. Come on, pen, suck it up. Make it through the period. 50. Okay. Yeah, okay, so we're doing like a crypto quote here. Minimum X is 5. First quartile is 20. Median is 29. Quartile 3 is 38. And maximum is 44. Okay, I think you get my point, right? Are we good? All right, God bless. Hey, one more thing. What does the mean mean? The mean is the average. No, the median is the middle, the one right in the middle. 50% of the scores above and below. And what's the mode? Most frequent or most popular. So anything on today's homework sheet will be there. Listen, get tonight's homework sheet done because it'll have box and whisker plot on it. It'll have everything else.